God is noun and verb, our God. Other lords besides thee have had dominion over us. But by thee only will we make mention of thy name. They are dead. They shall not live. They are deceased. They shall not rise. Therefore hast thou visited and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish. Thou hast increased the nation. God is noun and verb. Thou hast increased the nation. Thou art glorified. Thou hast removed it far unto all the ends of the earth. Maybe thou art glorified rhymes with Yahweh somehow. Thou hast removed it far unto all the ends of the earth. Thy dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust, for thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. In that day, the Lord. In that day, God is noun and verb, with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. The polytheist forms of that myth, it is the Baal, son of El, that kills Lotan, over and over again, kind of like the Apis, kind of like the Apep serpent. In that day, sing ye unto her a vineyard of red wine. I, God is noun and verb, keep it. I will water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I will keep it night and day. Fury is not in me. Who would set the briars and thorns against me in battle? I would go through them. I would burn them together, or let them take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me, and he shall make peace with me. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Yisrael shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with fruit. The covenant with death. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys of him that are overcome with wine. Behold, God as a noun and verb hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet, and the glorious beauty which is on the head of the fat valley shall be a fading flower, and as the hasty fruit before the summer, which, when he that looketh upon it seeth, while it is yet in his hand, he eateth it up. In that day shall God as a noun and verb of hosts be for a crown of glory, and for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people, and for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. But they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through the strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all the tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. Whom shall he reach? Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breasts. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here little and there little, for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people, to whom he said, This is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear. But the word of God as noun and verb was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. Anything to become dry and mechanical if you let it. Wherefore hear the word of God as noun and verb, ye scornful men that rule this people, which is in Jerusalem, because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come to us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Therefore thus saith God as noun and verb, God, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation of stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. And hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place, and your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it. From the time that it goeth forth, it shall take you, for morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night, and it shall be a vexation only to understand the report, for the bed is shorter than that a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than that he can wrap himself in it. For God as a noun and verb shall rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he might do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act and his strange act. Now therefore be ye not mockers, lest your bands be made strong. For I have heard from God as noun and verb, divinity of hosts, a consumption, even determined upon the whole earth. Give ye ear and hear my voice, hearken and hear my speech. Doth the plowman plow all day to sow? Doth he open and break the clods of his ground? When he hath made plain the face thereof, doth he not cast abroad the fitches, and scatter the cumin, and cast the principal wheat, and the appointed barley, and rye in their place? For his God doth instruct him to discretion, and doth teach him. For the fitches are not threshed with a threshing instrument, neither is a cartwheel turned about upon the cumin, but the fitches are beaten out with the staff, and the cumin with the rod. Bread corn is bruised, barley and wheat, because he will not ever be threshing it. Well, bruise sounds more like what you do with oats, but threshing it, nor break it with the wheel of his cart, nor bruise it with his horsemen. This also cometh forth from God as a noun and verb of hosts, which is wonderful in counsel and excellent in working. Woe to them that go down to Egypt. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Yisrael, neither seek the Lord. Yet He is also wise, and he will bring evil. And he will not call back his words, but will rise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity. Now the Egyptians are men, and not God, and their horse is flesh, and not spirit. When God is noun and verb shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is helped shall fall down, and they all shall fail together. For thus hath God his noun and verb spoken unto me, like a lion, and the young lion roaring on his prey. When a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So shall God his noun and verb of hosts come down to fight for Mount Sion, and for the hill thereof. As birds flying, so will God his noun and verb of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also will he deliver it, and passing over he will preserve it. Turn ye unto him from whom the children of Yisrael have deeply revolted. For on that day every man shall cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which your own hands have made unto you for a sin. Then shall the Assyrian fall with a sword, not of a mighty man, and the sword not of a mean man shall devour him, but he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomfited, and he shall pass over to his stronghold for fear, and his princes shall be afraid of the ensign. Thus saith God is a noun and verb, whose fire is in Sion, and his furnace is in Jerusalem. The character of the liberal. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment, and a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. And the eyes of them that see shall not be dim, and the ears of them that hear shall hearken. The heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongues of the stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against God as noun and verb, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. But the liberal deviseth liberal things, and by liberal things shall he stand. The women that are at ease. Rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city, because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the city shall be left, the forts and towers shall be for dens forever, a joy of wild donkeys, a pasture of flocks, until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field, and the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness quietness and assurance forever. And my people shall dwell in a peaceable habitation, and in sure dwellings, and in quiet resting places, when it shall hail coming down on the forest, and the city shall be low in a low place. Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters, that send forth thither the feet of the ox and the donkey. Come near, ye nations, to hear. Now, is it nations, or is it those who turn their back on God? Because sometimes they say those who turn their back on God and render it as nations, or pagan, or heathen, or something, but I don't know why they translate it different, but They want to hide what's being said in some cases and accentuate it in others, right? Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of God as a noun and verb is upon all nations, and its fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon the Yumeh. That sounds like that. The ripe soybean, right? Getting rumbly in the tumbly here. I don't know if you can ever hear that. Rumble right there. And upon my people the curse to judgment. The sword of God is a noun and verb, is filled with blood, and is made fat with fatness, with the blood of the lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For God is a noun and verb, hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumeh. And the unicorns shall come down with them. Unicorns are a type of spirit, actually. And the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of God as a noun and verb's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Tune. Now, are they, obviously they're not setting a good example. They're set apart, but they're not setting a good example. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out upon the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing, and the thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be a habitation of dragons. Another type of spiritual being. And a court for owls, the wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest, and lay and hatch, and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord. Seek ye out of the book of God as noun and verb, and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them, and he hath cast the lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation they shall dwell therein. The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. So something spreading from the desert, from a desert to Lebanon and Carmel and Sharon, So west and north is this movement spreading. They shall see the glory of God as noun and verb, and excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong for us. And one may be familiar with how in the Quran it says and mention, and so in the Revelations sometimes commands following teaching, that precede teachings are present. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as a hart, and the tongue of the dumb sing, for in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert, and the parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In the habitation of dragons, where each lay, shall be grass with reeds and rushes, and a highway shall be there, and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there, and the ransomed of God as a noun and verb shall return, and come to tune with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. The song of Hezekiah. The writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, when he had become sick and was removed of his sickness. I said in the cutting off of my days, I shall go to the gates of the grave. I am deprived of the residue of my years. I said I shall not see God as noun and verb, even God as noun and verb, in the land of the living. I shall behold man no more with the inhabitants of the world. Mine age is departed, and is removed from me as a shepherd's tent. I have cut off like a weaver my life. He will cut me off with pining sickness. From day even to night wilt thou make an end of me. I reckon till morning that as a lion, so will he break all my bones. From day even to-night wilt thou make an end of me. Like a crane or a swallow did I chatter. I did mourn as a dove. Mine eyes fail with looking upward. God is noun and verb. I am oppressed. Undertake for me. What shall I say? He hath both spoken unto me, and himself hath done it. I shall go softly all my years in the bitterness of my soul. God is noun and verb. By these things men live, and in all these things is the life of my spirit. So wilt thou recover me, and make me to live. Behold, for peace I had great bitterness, but thou hast in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption. For thou hast cast all my sins behind thy back. For the grave cannot praise thee, death cannot celebrate thee. They that go down into the pit cannot hope for thy truth. The living, he shall praise thee, as I do this day. The father of the children shall make known thy truth. God as noun and verb is ready to save me, therefore we will sing my songs to the stringed instruments all the days of our life in the house of God as noun and verb. Now we see in the existence of the living that the persona of God basically is realized through creation, particularly things that relate to particular names like, the living. In the land of the living, I don't see, well, it's not that you see God directly. It's, like that thing about Moses. And you'll see what I left behind.